Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Manchester City beat Club Brugge 5-1 last night in a comprehensive and thumping Champions League victory. It genuinely was incredibly impressive. And today, I'm going to look at 5 things that we learned from that game because there was loads of talking points. I could just talk through every single goal. It would be that interesting. But I'm going to try and dive a little bit deeper about what I learned from that game. I also want to say, as always, please do go and download OneFootball in the link in the description below. OneFootball is absolutely ace, and as you can see alongside me right now, I've got my own little QR code. I've not actually tried it myself yet, so click it now. No, you don't click it. What you do, get your phone out if you're on the desktop and scan that and see if it takes you to OneFootball. Do it for me right now and let me know in the comments below if it's worked for you. And don't forget, OneFootball is the home of all your Manchester City news, all the stats, information, and of course all the transfer goodness with the January transfer window fast approaching. Good, so download it right now. It helps support my channel and you get all the news from across the world of football. What's not to love? Do it right now. Do it. Do it. Do it. So let's talk about 5 things that we learned. Let's get my list up alongside me here. I'm going to start with this simple 2-word phrase. Getting better. I genuinely think this Manchester City side is getting better at what they do. I could be wrong there and I could be getting carried away, but I was talking last night in the Fan View Live that I feel like there's a level of performance right now in this system that actually it's potentially outstrips what we did last season at times with a false 9. These players are getting more and more comfortable in their own skin. They're getting more and more used to playing in this expected way, and the movement is getting more fluid. And I'm starting to feel that we might even somehow exceed what we did last season in this system. It looks really, really impressive. We come out back of a bunch of games that could have potentially destroyed our season in terms of confidence that have made us absolutely on top of the world. And this performance last night, it was sensational. There's a really good piece from Jack Pitbrook over in The Athletic, which I'd recommend everyone reading, where he talks an awful lot about how this Manchester City side could even be better with a false 9 than potentially with a striker. Now, I do want a striker. I do think we need a striker, but I don't think he's actually, I don't think he's waffling there. I do think there's elements of this side that are better occasionally because of how we play. You don't get that freedom, that energy, that movement. Is Joao Cancelo and Kyle Walker getting forward to score those goals if we have a striker? Maybe they're not needed, but they're probably not there in the first place. And what makes us so hard to mark and so energetic and so hard to get the ball off is because of this system, is because of that fluidity, is because of that variance that you get from the players moving around. And you can't ignore the impact of that. And to me, it looks like, as I said, they are getting better in this system. And that's a terrifying thought, Likewise, as is Phil Foden, false 9 Foden. Honestly, last night, I thought that was his best game in a Manchester City shirt as a false 9. Of course, he's had world-class performances before, but last night, he looked so comfortable there. Previous times, he's kind of looked like a fish out of water playing as a false 9, willing and eager with moments of brilliance, of course, but last night, it was a perfect false 9 performance. The only thing that was lacking was a goal, really, but either way, you can tell that he's getting more and more comfortable in that role. The amount of times I saw him drop deep and link-up play, playing perfectly weighted, diagonal balls, be it across the floor or over the top. It was like watching a little bit like a young Messi at times in the way he drifted into space and received the ball from deep. And of course, that led to Joao Cancelo's goal where he pinged it over the top. Absolutely ridiculous from a very ridiculous footballer. And I think he's getting better in this role. Right now, this might be the best solution for this striker problem that we've got. I want to see Ferran there, and of course, I want to see a striker, maybe Delap at some point. But right now, in terms of the false 9, I think Phil Foden is learning that role. He's a footballing sponge and he's learning it quickly. Genuinely, he absorbs information. He absorbs football. He's just essentially a pure footballer. And I do honestly think he's learning how to play that role. And right now, him in the middle, as he learns to play there in general, this could be the best bet for him. He was also good as well running in behind and trying to get on the end of passes, but then dropping deep and getting assists. He's a special player and he's getting better. And hopefully, it's not just him. Hopefully, Cole Palmer is next. Palmer is next, actually. And what I mean for that, he's next in that Phil Foden treatment. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be Phil Foden. And I said last night on Twitter, he doesn't have to be Phil Foden. We need to remember that not everyone has the potential of Phil Foden. And that includes 90% at least of our squad. Sterling doesn't have Phil Foden's potential. Gundogan doesn't. Mahrez doesn't. Grealish doesn't. Maybe even Bernardo doesn't. And I do not mean this in a derogatory sense to any of those players. I think Phil Foden, you're talking a potential Ballon d'Or winner. And with all due respect to Gundogan and Mahrez, they are absolutely high quality. They are world-class players, and I love them to bits. I think Phil Foden could outstrip and exceed Aguero, Silva, Kompany, De Bruyne, and be Manchester City's greatest player of all time. I really see him that high. But what I'm saying with Cole Palmer is that he doesn't have to be that good to be very useful. If he ends up just being as good as Gundogan, or just being as good as Mahrez, or just being as good as Grealish, or whatever, that's still a young English player at the top of the game, which would probably be worth 100 million, as we've already seen with Grealish. That would be phenomenal. And what I really like is Cole Palmer is showing all the signs of having the confidence to step in and try and be that next guy. And I kind of love it. I kind of genuinely love it. That, to me, is really, really exciting. Honestly, it's really, really, really impressive as well. And I think Guardiola is giving him that treatment as well. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be Phil Foden once again, but I think Guardiola sees that he's got that natural energy and natural lethal instinct in front of goal. He clearly is a killer. And that is really hard to come by. As Guardiola said, you have to have that sense of goal. And it isn't common. It isn't common whatsoever. And Cole Palmer's got that. And when you tie that with his decent height in general, he needs to stock out a little bit, which he will do. But when you tie that with his height, tie that with his obvious, graceful technical ability on the ball, and the fact that he's a mank and he's willing to bleed for this club, well, that's a really potent combination. And I think he's going to get games here and there. And it's on the first team, basically. Keep banging in goals and he'll keep getting minutes, and I can't wait. And next, one tiny little thing that I learned is that, interestingly, and I could be reading into nothing here, I did notice that when Fernandinho came onto the pitch, and he is the club captain, Ruben Diaz kept the armband. Now, this could be nothing, but I do think this is worth discussing, because I think there could be an acceptance that actually really, it's kind of Ruben's armband now. I know he came second in the vote and so on, and Fernandinho is there rightfully, but Fernandinho is a very mature player. He's a very humble man, and in general, he understands his status in the squad right now, and he understands that Ruben Diaz is the next guy. And it could just be a coincidence that they didn't do it because they forgot to do it, whatever, but I would not be surprised whatsoever if actually he really is the club captain right now, because he's on the pitch more, and even when Fernandinho was there yesterday, he still had the captain's armband anyway, and I kind of loved that, and I loved almost a little bit of Fernandinho being deferential to that. He didn't grab the armband off him. He didn't come over and demand it. He probably just knows that he is the club captain. And he was imperious last night, as always, Ruben, which I absolutely love. That was a small little point, but I want to see your thoughts in the comments about that. Is he actually officially the club captain right now? I think he kind of is, and I kind of love it. The final point I wanted to talk about, because I think it's important, is at times last night, the football just looked, well, joyous. Honestly, those players looked like they were having the time of their lives. We talked a little bit about this last night in the fan view. I think Sinister mentioned it, and it was a good point that I'd not really thought of. Of course, when you're watching Manchester City, you know, it's always a war of attrition. They have to break teams down. It can be really, really difficult every now and then. And of course, after as well, after the PSG, Chelsea, Liverpool week, you would have understood if the players were a little bit tired or whatever. But I think actually they come out of this that spell of games there, and they've come out enjoying their football. I mean, imagine how empowering it must be to be a Manchester City player or just a footballer whatsoever, and be involved in games when you've genuinely at times bossed the likes of PSG, Liverpool, Chelsea. I know we only got one win from those 3 games, but the manner of the performances was exceptional at times, and you can see it right now in the players' eyes, especially last night on the pitch. They are enjoying their football, and it's no coincidence Bernardo came out and said he's enjoying his football right now as well today. You can see that glee in the way that they move the football around. They look confident, and there's a level of confidence there which feeds back to what I said at the start of this video, where I do think they're getting better. I do think they're getting more suited to this system, and I do think they're expressing themselves now with a lack of fear. What is there else to fear for them? They've beaten Chelsea this season. They got rid of that jinx as well. They're not scared of Anfield anymore. You know, they've got to the Champions League final before, so they know they can do it again, which thus means you can win the Champions League. There is absolutely no question marks over this team, really. Yeah, I know they've got to win the Champions League, but the point I'm making is if you can get to the final, you can win the tournament, and even they know that now. Once you get there, it's kind of 90 minutes and pot luck. So what have they got to fear? It must be relatively freeing knowing that you can take last season's overall form into this season and potentially improve on it and feel more confident in it and get through those big games and still be near the top of the table. They must be absolutely on cloud 9 right now, and that is really empowering as a footballer, and it's terrifying for our rivals. Guys, thanks for watching this video. They are 5 things that I learned. Don't forget, you can download OneFootball in the link in the description below. Big love to the Patreons and Scott Dan and me, my Patreon producer. Go watch the stream highlights if you want to. I'll put a link on screen right now. And of course, there's the fan view live from last night where some of you guys chatted away to me. It was really good fun. And my match reaction and the full watch along if you wanted to watch that. For now though, have a wonderful day. Get me to 60k. Hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like, and I'll see you soon.